Here we go. It's the 17th of January. Welcome to the 146th episode of the Korea Podcast. I'm your host, Jack, located in Ulsan, South Korea, on the very southern tip of the South Korean peninsula, or almost. It's a chilly Monday evening, but I hope everybody had a nice weekend. Friday, Saturday was pretty nice, and hope everybody's enjoying a nice Monday. The Live in Korea podcast is sponsored by Shane English, franchise of language schools that my spouse and I run together in South Korea. We're the master franchisee. If you are located in South Korea and are interested in starting your own franchise business here in South Korea, your own branch of a language school, and please get in touch with me, and we can discuss details and see if we can set you up with your very own language school in South Korea. The Korea podcast talks about, on the Korean podcast, I talk about anything and everything related to living, working, and existing in South Korea. Let me just check to make sure. Working and existing. Make sure the sound is fine. Sounds good. Sound is sounding well. And in the past, I was doing a lot of interviews. I haven't done any in a very long time, just because it's so difficult to get around to getting somebody. I recently contacted somebody, but they were too busy because nobody wants to come onto the Korea podcast, a very tiny little known podcast. Well, no, not true. Steve Sperling came on. That was pretty cool. A lot of stuff to talk about today. Very little time to talk about. You know what? I failed to get the chat organized here. Shoot. Let me get the chat feed set up here quickly for our viewership. Bing. All right, here's the chat. Very good. Fantastic. Yowzers. Alrighty. Let's start off with our regular of bashing failed parking in South Korea. The failed parking. Good evening, Paul. Thanks for stopping by. Glad you made it, man. The failed parking in Korea Facebook group has been pretty dried up, pretty dry recently. There isn't that many. Actually, usually I think there are not many posts. You know, I don't know if things are getting better, but maybe in 1 week's duration there aren't that many posts. But this week it's all about Range Rover bashing, man. Somebody posted a bunch of pictures of Range Rovers just doing a really horrible job out of parking their keisters in random places. So there's one here occupying 2 spots, very nicely done. This guy is standing, he's not even in a parking spot, and I guess these are all the stickers that were plastered all over the car to remind the driver that they should move their keister. This is a very regular size, not so uncommon to see cars parked like this in underground parking lots. You can see in the background there is other cars parked in the same way, but I think what was special about this car, I think it's in a different picture, was that it's quite far away from the pillar here, which means that it's blocking like a huge chunk of the road. This guy here, I don't know if the driver was drunk and parked across, sideways almost, and across 2 spaces. Here's another fella parking in a handicap spot, blocking the entrance to, I don't know if it's a residential area, probably. So congrats on that dumb move. So this is the picture of the previous one. Look at the space here, it's massive. So this person didn't even bother to pull up. Or maybe these are cones here. Oh, these are cones right here. They're cones basically, or there's one cone that basically is intended to dissuade people from parking here, kind of, giving you the hint that it's not a parking area. This person didn't really get the hint. I don't know if that's the same one. This could be the same one. Let's see, is it 97? Is that 90? No, 99. Is that 97? No, yeah, it's a different one. Same idea. This is, I think that's a 99 here on the pillar, yeah. That's a 99, here's a 97. Yeah, so it's a different one. Same idea, parking right in a spot where they shouldn't be parking. So congratulations. Congrats. And here a couple of police officers doing their hard job, putting up stickers on import cars. Well done. You don't really see that, man. Expensive imported cars here in Korea getting tickets. So somebody called it on the Facebook group. Somebody called it doing God's job or doing God's work. Whatever, yeah. But yeah, so that's it. That's it for the parking spots. Moving straight along to stuff that's happening in South Korea. So apparently in South Korea, there's actually a couple of topics, but I wanted to start off with this one just quickly. Foreign children in Seoul to receive education fee support from March, says the Education Office. I thought it was a big deal when I first read it, but then I read further, and it's for kids between the ages 3 to 5. Now, for me personally, sending kids to kindergarten at the age of 3 is, man, you have to be really pinched for cash in order to get rid of your kids so you can go to work. At 3 years old, I think the only time we sent our daughter, how old was she? 3.5, I think, and we sent her for just a couple of hours, and with the sole purpose of her meeting, just making some friends, really. And she stayed in one kindy for just a few months, and we took her out of there. And basically, I think for the next couple of years, she was at home with her mom. Because I personally I couldn't bear having my kid that early in a kindy. Horrendous. So anyway, foreign children aged 3 to 5 in Seoul will receive education fee support equivalent to that of South Korean children from March, the city's education office said. So Korean children have been receiving education fees, foreign children have not. And it's $150 or 150,000 won, 100,000 won for daytime programs, which go up until I think 2 o'clock most of the time, 2:30 or so. And then after school programs, 50,000 won. After school programs are things like, I don't know, additional. So the first initial classes end at 2:30 or so, 3 o'clock, I guess, 2:30, 3 o'clock. And then after that, the additional teachers come in and they do arts and crafts or instruments or whatever else that they do that kind of fall outside of the regular kindergarten teaching hours. And it probably just gives kindergarten an excuse to charge a little bit more. But a lot of parents, working parents, I know with us there's a lot of working parents who leave their children behind for additional time because they're working. So yeah, and so outside of the regular program, that's what the kids can get. Up to 350,000 won, one for daytime, and 7,000 won for after-school programs will be given to those enrolled in private kindergartens. So this is for public, 150,000 for public kindergartens, 350,000 for private kindergartens, and only those aged between 3 to 5 with foreigner registration will be eligible for the aid. So yeah, so it's just 3 to 5 basically, which is very, very. This is like what is that? Preschool. I don't even in daycare. That's more like daycare, babysitting, essentially. Yeah. So just wanted to start off with that. Alrighty. Gloria is here. Hey, Gloria. Reports of adverse COVID. Okay. Well, we're not there yet. So. Okay, so moving on to issues with COVID and such. regulations are changing a little bit. Up to 6 people can gather starting from Monday. Vaccine passes suspended at department stores and supermarkets. So over the past month, the government introduced vaccine passports, meaning that anybody entering a store, a grocery store, or department store, supermarkets needed to present a vaccine passport, which are located, I guess, included in your Kakao Talk scanners or whatever. But apparently that's changing, well, starting today, for certain reasons. For reasons that the numbers, COVID numbers are, I guess, remaining quite low, so people are feeling more secure. And so that's a good thing. As mentioned earlier, there have been slight changes to vaccine pass requirements here in the country, and I have Kim, whatever, this dude, Young Sung Good as okay, this is like a sub transcript of a conversation. The Korean government announced on Monday that vaccine passes will not be required at department stores and large supermarkets following a court injunction. Right. First, let's take a listen to what. Okay, so let's just point out that this is not a mandate issued by the Korean government, but rather something that the Korean government is required to fall into. They're required to fall into step because this was a statement or a requirement put out forth by the Korean judicial system. The spread has downsized compared to December when we first expanded vaccine passes. Considering prevention protocols and the public's reception of them, there seems to be a need to loosen the vaccine pass rules for low-risk facilities. These low-risk facilities also include museums, movie theaters, private academies, and study rooms. But vaccine passes will continue to be enforced at music academies where students need to take off their masks to sing or play an instrument, for example. Basically, they're separating low-risk facilities and high-risk facilities in which people are need to remove their masks in order to function. So like restaurants and eateries and any place where you are required to remove your mask are considered high risk, and those will still require you to present a valid vaccination passport or a PCV test. But the places like movie theaters and other establishments will not, where you are not necessarily required to take off your mask, will temporarily, at least for now, hopefully for the long term, but right now have suspended the requirements for vaccine passes. So good. However, vaccine pass requirements at cafes, restaurants, and bars will remain in place. To sum up, around 11% of the venues that previously required vaccine passes will not be tied down to these rules anymore. The government is also planning to lighten the penalties for businesses that violate vaccine pass rules in light of their financial struggles. Thank bloody goodness. You know what? Like, I don't know. The government is trying to help us out here. And meantime, at the same time, they're imposing new rules. Like we had to strip our van windows of the tint that was on them for the past 5 years or 6 years since we purchased the van, because new regulations just kicked in this year that required the tint to be taken off, which, you know, set us back only $300. But still, like, if you're looking at, you know, the government is sending out checks to help out businesses with the COVID situation, and the checks are, you know, they're not big by any means. Like, we're looking at a few $100, minus the $300 that we had to cough up now for removing the stickers. It's just so ridiculous. Like, who's looking over whose shoulder, who isn't looking over whose shoulder in the government? Like, what's going on, people? Does anybody know who's doing what? You know? Vaccine pass requirements at department stores and supermarkets only came into effect last week before the court intervened to suspend the measure, right? All right, so this is a conversation. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but yeah, that's basically what's happening here. Paul says, how about the Noribangs? Yeah, that's a good question. I guess I think Noribang would probably fall under the category of you know, safe environments, because the naughty bungs are, you know, you have your private room, and so when you go into that room, you're coming in with people that you know and that you interact with. You don't hang around strangers like you do in cafes or restaurants, right? You probably go in with either your family or co-workers, people that you work around with anyway, and then I would assume that people would you know, impose their own regulations in terms of safety or whatever. I don't know. Just on vans? What do you mean? What do you mean just on vans? Not sure what that means. It's high risk. It's a place to drink more than just sing. Yeah, naughty bung, yes it is, but you're in an enclosed environment. Like in a restaurant, the restaurant is an open space, and you've got, you know, 100 or I don't know, 50 or 100 guests basically sitting in one in the same area. Whereas a naughty bung, you go into a room and you can lock yourself up. I don't know what the regulations are for naughty bungs. I have no idea if, you know, what the regulations are, but I would imagine that they're a little bit less strict. Like they would fall under the what is it? What's the category here? Whatever, the non-essential or essential. That would be my perception, but I have no idea. I mean, it's highly likely that it's like one of those gray areas the government never really looked at, or something, or just didn't fall, you know, on the paper to be looked at properly. So no idea on that. Tint regs. What's up with this tint regulation? Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about it. Yeah, it's basically starting today. Today was the last day when we could have been running around with. So actually, today was the day on which tinted windows were prohibited, and every single Hagwon van here in Ulsan, at least, is it just this area? I have no idea. Maybe just Ulsan, maybe just this area, but no tinted windows allowed, man. That's all gone, and we had to cough up some dough for that. So yeah. The Yonhap News reported that daily cases fall below 4,000 amid growing Omicron woes. The whole Omicron thing, right? There's consistent talk about just Hagwon cars, not all cars, just Hagwon cars. This is just strictly for Hagwon, Paul. So the Omicron thing was that it's supposed to be less, more infectious but less severe, and so some were hoping that if that's the case, and if Omicron becomes the dominant strain, then we're all in good shape, I guess. But yeah, South Korea's daily coronavirus cases fell below 4,000 for the first time in a week Monday, but health authorities remain vigilant over a passive resurgence due to the fast spread of the Omicron variant amid partially eased antivirus curbs. This is also the reason why the vaccine passport is being dropped, because the number of cases have dropped as well. So vaccine passed, large retailers lifted. The government has made a U-turn over the enforcement of COVID vaccine passes at large retailers and malls in the wake of a court ruling ordering the suspension of vaccine mandate at the facilities. The Ministry of Health and Welfare announced Monday that the vaccine pass on 6 sites of multi-use facilities, large retailers and department stores, study rooms, museums, libraries, cram schools and theaters will be lifted on Tuesday. The authorities said these facilities have relatively lower risk of virus transmission as visitors can wear face masks properly there, adding that the vaccine mandate will remain in place at other high-risk places such as eateries, cafes and indoor gyms. Our medical capacity has increased. Infections are showing signs of slowdowns compared to December of last year when the vaccine pass was expanded to multi-use facilities. That's interesting. I wonder what the case will be with hotels and such. If that's the case, then maybe even hotels will be, people will be able to visit hotels. I have no idea without vaccines. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. Complaints grow among eatery owners after government decides to keep COVID-19 vaccine pass. And of course, this is what happens. Like you separate things where you start saying, oh, you're okay to have a vaccine, you're okay to function without having, without requiring people to show you their vaccine pass, and you're not. And of course, people start complaining. So complaints have been mounting among owners of cafes and restaurants after the government decided Monday to keep its COVID-19 vaccine pass requirements for eateries while suspending its enforcement at other multi-use facilities. The government decided to hold the vaccine pass requirements at department stores, supermarkets, cram schools, and theaters nationwide starting Tuesday after the Seoul Administrative Court ordered a suspension of these at such facilities in the capital. And this is tied into what the government is complaining about, vaccines for kids. And maybe the reason why these were suspended, partially. Korean government to appeal court's call to hold vaccine or test policy for kids. So because of the requirement because the Korean court dropped the requirement for vaccine passports, kids, I guess, no longer need to be vaccinated now in order to get into cram schools. This was like in the past, the government was saying that, and health authorities were saying that kids do not need to be vaccinated, that it's all at the sole discretion of the parents. But of course, and that it's not forced. But of course, when you start implementing the need for vaccinations in order to enter places like cram schools, which is like the bread and butter of the Korean educational industry, because I mean, schools don't do jack shit anymore. Like, I don't know, I look at my kids, what they do, they go in for half a day. What is it, they're 8:40 until classes, I think, start at 9. They finish at 12 3 times out of the week. 12:30 maybe after lunch, and they come home, and tomorrow my daughter's watching a movie. I'm like, what is this, like 1980s? Kids don't have televisions in at homes anymore? I mean, the teachers spent 3 hours barely teaching, I don't know what the heck they do, in 5th grade, and then they're showing movies. Like, it's a joke. I have no idea what other schools are up in Seoul and Gyeonggi-do, but man, in Ulsan here, at least my school, and it seems like a lot of other schools, it's a joke right now. The Korean public school teachers, it's a riot. It's a racket, rather, not a riot, a racket. What are they doing? I have no idea. It's a joke. It's a serious joke, man. And I've been thinking, this is my sentiment for a very long time now. My kids are 8 and 12, Korean age, so like 11. Yeah. Elementary school kids. Was hurting their pockets too much, so they U-turned. Yeah, it's not the government that U-turned. It's the court, and the government's still pushing for the vaccines. The South Korean government said Monday it would appeal a Seoul court's decision to suspend the vaccine pass mandate, requiring children and adolescents to be fully vaccinated or negative in tests to access public places. The Ministry of Health and Welfare told a news briefing it would incorporate a part of the court's decision to retract the mandate at lower risk facilities for adults, while maintaining that the passes for school-age children and teens are necessary to protect them against a looming Omicron wave. The youngest eligible age for a vaccine in Korea is 12. And so that's what they're trying to push. Yeah, that have 12-year-old vaccinated and stuff, which I'm highly against, because I don't want my 12-year-old to get vaccinated. The Seoul Administrative Court on Friday temporarily blocked the use of vaccine passes at essential places like malls and grocery shops for people of all eligible ages. And they blocked it temporarily, so this is not like, a law or whatever, but it's just they're saying because the cases have been dropping, we no longer need it so badly. But I guess if cases were to begin rising again, they'd be back on the ball, reinstating it and having all that fun vaccination. Daniel says mine are similar, yet first years don't stay long enough. Yeah, right. It's I don't know. Like my son is in second grade now, third grade now. Started this year, and my daughter started fifth year. And yeah, like 3 times out of the week he finishes at 12:30, I think, and he goes at 8:40. Classes start at 9. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be there at 8:40 or so on time, and they do like warm up, I guess, hello, greetings. They don't say prayers or anything, but actual classes start at 9. So it's 10, 11, 12. It's lunchtime, so it's 3 hours. I mean, what do they like? It's I don't know. To me, it just seems like a joke. It's no wonder that Hagwons are flourishing here, man. Everybody's going to Hagwons because public schools don't do anything. Like, might as well get rid of the public schools, and just turn the whole system into a privatized freaking Hagwon system, man. Because that's what it feels like right now, at least around here. I don't know, like I said, I don't know in Seoul, but at least here in the south, that's what it feels like, man. Mask fraud. Apparently, people are taking advantage of the whole mask thing. Mask fraud alert. Dating apps crack down on heavily masked profiles amid complaints. I think too many people were uploading masked faces and somebody started complaining. Wearing a mask has become commonplace during this pandemic. Though the act is often encouraged to stop the spread of COVID-19, there is one place where it is definitely frowned upon. Dating apps. Funny. It's just funny. Korean tech giant fall prey to patent trolling. I have no idea what this is. I was reading it. I haven't read it, but though the pandemic has driven record-breaking profits for tech firms as demand for at-home leisure and communication hardware rises, it has also stoked a growing threat coming from patent trolls. What the heck is a patent troll? Companies specializing in exploiting patent rights have been buying up intellectual property from firms struggling amid the pandemic and using it as ammunition against Korean firms. The approach is often seen as a file and settle strategy, as their targets would often prefer to avoid fighting a time-consuming court battle and the associated cost, even if they are likely to win the case. As a result, they are settling an increasing number of patent suits at an early stage of court proceedings, particularly in the United States, where the tech market is largest. Interesting. You get sorry if just turn off my phone here, making too much noise. Getting catfished on dating apps. Yeah, totally. That was pretty weird. And these guys are getting catfished on patents, man, here in South Korea. Well, oh wow. Is Korea a tsunami-free zone? I don't know how many of you have heard of the tsunami that hit. Oh man, which country was it? I forget now. Oh, just a second. Let me just check quickly. Country was that? Tonga. Tonga. There was a volcano that exploded somewhere in the vicinity of Tonga, which I presume is in Africa. I'm not quite familiar with all of the countries in Africa, but I may be completely off. Where the heck is Tonga? Jesus. Tonga. Oceania. I was way off. My lord, not even close. Okay, here we go. Here is a tiny little island of Tonga, the east side of Australia. Where was we? No. Okay. So there was a massive tsunami that hit Tonga because of a volcano that erupted, and apparently it went as far as, where did it go? It went far, like far. Where the heck did it go? It hit the United States and Japan, So I don't know where the volcano was, where it exploded, but basically the waves went as far as Japan and the United States. I don't know which part of the United States here, somewhere, North America, I guess. And so Korea is concerned, whether we're safe from tsunamis, man. What the heck is that? Here we go. An underwater volcanic eruption in the South Pacific, which triggered massive waves reaching as far as Japan and the west coast of the United States, has left Koreans wondering one thing: is the Korean peninsula safe? Yeah. Experts say the possibility of the country's coastal region being wiped out by a tsunami is relatively low due to its geographic location. Yes, we should all thank Japan for providing us a massive shield that guides us, that shields us from all natural disasters. The number of typhoons that have crashed on the Japanese shores, causing havoc while Korea was saved over the years is massive. Like every single time over the past 2 or 3 years, every time that there was a warning of a tsunami, a typhoon coming towards Korea, it would break up either on Japan or kind of wander over into the East Sea here, and just disappear every single time. Pshewing, it was horrendous. So yeah, I think we're safe. Although, I mean, we were always safe with earthquakes until a couple of years ago. When was that? 3 years ago? 5 years ago now? So I have no idea what this is. Sunken ships in Tonga? Possibly. Consumers refrain from ordering delivery on soaring fees, man. Apparently deliveries are getting more expensive in South Korea. More and more consumers are visiting restaurants to pick up their online ordered food due to soaring delivery fees. The number 2 food delivery platform Yogiyo said on Monday the number of people making pickup and takeout orders has skyrocketed by nearly 100 times year on year for the period of January 1st to 11th. Maybe people are just sick and tired of being stuck at home, and they're more likely to be able to get out now, I guess. The initial panic of COVID that we went through, I think, has subsided somewhat. People are getting a little bit restless and tired, and I think a lot more people are willing to venture out. And plus, there's a lot more people who are vaccinated. When COVID first struck, everybody was panicked and frozen. Everybody was, locked up in their homes, and they were very much willing to order stuff using the app and get stuff delivered. But now, I think a lot more people are willing to go out on the account of being vaccinated, drop in cases overall, and so forth. And I don't know what causes the increase in numbers, in prices, if it happened because of the drop in orders. Possibly. Yeah, Daniel says, yeah, we are just out of the reach of the typhoon tunnel too. Yeah. Where are you located, Daniel? World's 10 richest men doubled wealth during COVID-19 pandemic report. And this is interesting. I was saying, like, while the world businesses are losing grip on reality and losing their money, top 10 richest people in the world have doubled their money. And it's interesting that they show these two, Bezos and Musk, the two, I guess, the most prominent, or I don't know, the most easily to vilify. I mean, Bezos, he's got an Amazon business, basically allows people to order stuff online, and Musk is doing freaking things that, blow your mind, like trying to colonize Mars and shit. Nobody else does it. But they don't have Bill Gates, who's basically, questionably become substantially richer. He quit, I guess he quit being on the board. He resigned off the board of Microsoft for whatever reason to pursue his entrepreneurial wannabes in the vaccination industry, and I bet that his vaccines are bringing him tons and heaps and loads of cash, but yet his face is not on the front of this and is not underneath this. So why is it? I think his face, Bill Gates, should be the one over here on this. I think I need some water, man. This is, I tell you, man, chatting away like that, wow. Good exercise. By the by, 10:35. Make sure to swing by the crypto updates at 10:45, which is going to be starting in 10 minutes. So be there or be square. We'll leave it at that. That'll be it. That's all the news we have for today. Again, make sure to swing by, to stop by the crypto updates at 10:45. I'll be talking about what's happening in the crypto world, and some people are getting sentenced for life, possibly some crypto CEOs. So make sure to head over to the crypto updates channel and continue the conversation with me. But on a different topic. Yeah. All right. What is this, Paul? Oh yeah, Paul. Just to give you a quick rundown here. So I was splitting my attention here on the Korea podcast between the regular stuff that I talk about Korea and cryptocurrency, and since I just felt like that was not very good for the algorithm, the overall YouTube algorithm, I decided to split it up and started a new crypto channel. So it's crypto updates. Let me see, where is it? I need it. Where is it? Let me get you a link quickly here. Oh man. Oh yeah. This is a link for an older podcast, but if you just follow the link and then you can get to the channel crypto updates, and there's a podcast starting in like literally 7 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. Paul, thanks for stopping by, much appreciated. Daniel as well, thank you very much for stopping by. If this is your first, remember to smash up the likes on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. If this is your first time to the Live in Korea channel, to the Korea podcast, then make sure to do the same. Smash up the likes, subscribe to the channel, come back for more next week. There will be more. Have a good night. See you there. Bye-bye. See you on the Crypto Updates channel. Bye-bye.